Princess Charlotte. She got real spark, real personality, and I can't wait to see her in action.
And I agree. And when you see Charlotte on duties, she just gets it. She knows exactly what to do, and she's also often telling her brothers what they need to do as well.
You won't know that until it happens. But if it's a personal best, you can be eminently proud of what you've achieved, because you will know you couldn't have done any better. That is extraordinary, because it requires such inspiration and innovation.
Royal insiders have been murmuring for months, their whispers echoing through palace halls, about the quiet tremors shaking the foundations of the British monarchy. At the heart of it all is King Charles III's battle with Kensington struggle, casting a long, sobering shadow over the House of Windsor. As the monarch's strength flickers, all eyes have turned to the loyal figures holding the fort. Among them stands Princess Anne, the indomitable Princess Royal along the monarchy's steely backbone, a woman defined by duty and discipline. But during a recent state banquet, an astonishing moment unfolded. Anne, her eyes shimmering with emotion, turned to her great-niece Princess Charlotte and handed over a symbolic emblem of royal responsibility. It wasn't just a ceremonial nod, it was a profoundly emotional acknowledgement that the torch was being passed. The next generation is rising as the king retreats. Stay with us until the end to witness the full arc of this remarkable moment. And don't forget to subscribe. Our royal deep dives go beyond the headlines. King Charles's cancer diagnosis, first disclosed more than a year ago, has become a crucible of endurance for the royal family. Recent updates have offered cautious hope. In a poignant exchange with a fellow cancer survivor, Charles admitted he's feeling considerably better amid continued treatment. Yet palace whispers tell a deeper story, one of hidden tolls and quiet suffering. A brief hospitalization in March 2025, due to treatment complications, served as a sobering reminder. Beneath the regal facade lies human fragility, with Charles gradually stepping back, retreating into a more advisory role as he prioritizes recovery. The weight of monarchy has shifted largely onto the unshakable shoulders of Anne. She's been relentless, showing up to engagement after engagement, quietly supporting her brother and the crown. But that moment at the banquet, there was something different in the air. It was as if the monarchy itself was subtly reshaping, with Charlotte stepping unexpectedly into the light. In times of uncertainty, family bonds take on an almost sacred quality. Anne and Charles share a sibling relationship forged under the unforgiving glare of royal expectation. Through decades of shared duty and mutual sacrifice, their connection has deepened. Anne has often spoken about their shared dry wit, describing how humor became their quiet rebellion in the face of relentless traditions. That's as Charles has leaned on lighthearted charm in his public moments. But beneath the humor, a reservoir of emotion is stirring. As the king continues to share candid updates, admitting the battle is hopeful but grueling. Anne's role has transformed from supporter to steward of continuity. She's not merely standing in, she's sowing seeds for the monarchy's future. And in Charlotte, she sees a flame and echo of the same unwavering spirit that has carried Anne through 7 decades of service. King Charles ascended with a vision of a modern monarchy, but his illness has accelerated an internal recalibration. Behind the gilded palace walls, sources reveal that the king, now in his late 70s, has begun delegating more of his workload to his sister and his son, Prince William. At 74, Princess Anne has become a linchpin, bearing the brunt of royal responsibilities. On July 8, 2025, she hosted the State Banquet, honoring Franco-British relations at Windsor Castle, an event rich with symbolism. There, beneath crystal chandeliers and amid the hum of diplomatic chatter, the royal family convened, though not in full strength. Charles was present, yes, but visibly diminished, his participation limited by treatment fatigue. And it was in that hushed, reverent atmosphere that Anne's quiet, history-making gesture took place. Anne has never been one for theatrics, known for her get-on-with-it grit. She's the pragmatic heart of the firm, but even she has revealed glimpses of vulnerability. In a moving visit to South Mid Hospital, where she'd been treated following a 2024 horseback accident, Anne spoke with humble gratitude. "Sadly, I don't have strong memories of being here," she said softly, "but I know I was incredibly well looked after. So, thank you." Her voice was firm, but it carried the tremor of sincerity. That resilience mirrors the king's own updates. Charles has shared that while he's improving, the fight is far from over. With that reality setting in, Anne is beginning to consider the monarchy's future. For years, speculation has surrounded her prestigious title, Princess Royal, traditionally reserved for the sovereign's eldest daughter and held for life. Yet recently, there's growing chatter that Anne may be preparing Charlotte to inherit the spirit of that title, if not the title itself, in the future. Amid the king's health crisis, what once was symbolic is now becoming real. The gravity of this transition is made even more poignant by the family's history of loss and loyalty. Anne was the lone child by Queen Elizabeth II's side in her final hours, the one who signed the Queen's death certificate. Now, with King Charles facing his own mortality, she is once again the steadfast presence preparing the next chapter. At that Windsor banquet, surrounded by dignitaries and world leaders, Anne reportedly leaned toward young Charlotte, whispering heartfelt words of encouragement, words that echoed the lessons of a lifetime. This wasn't about status or titles. This was about preparing a young girl to carry a legacy, one carved by service, humility, and quiet strength. Generation, much like her bond with her siblings, the State Banquet on July 8, 2025, intended to celebrate Franco-British relations, evolved into something far more intimate, a tableau of royal reflection. Set within the hallowed halls of Windsor Castle, the event gathered Princess Anne, Prince Edward, Prince William, and Catherine, while King Charles made a subdued, almost spectral appearance. The mood, insiders say, was thick with unspoken emotion, the king's health casting a long, quiet shadow over the evening. Just days later, Charles offered a rare public update. His condition had improved, yet the battle was far from over. As glasses clinked and toasts were made, the spotlight unexpectedly shifted to Anne. Her demeanor, always composed, now carried a subtle tremble of emotion. 10-year-old Princess Charlotte stood nearby, no longer a mere spectator, but a rising figure, in her own right. Fresh from charming the crowds at Wimbledon on July 13th, where she appeared alongside her parents, Charlotte radiated a confidence well beyond her years. At the banquet, she mingled with guests, her presence a quiet assertion of readiness. Then came the moment that stilled the room. Anne, with deliberate grace, unclasped a brooch once worn by Queen Elizabeth, a piece imbued with legacy, and placed it into Charlotte's hands. Her eyes welled with tears, a rare fracture in her legendary composure. "This is for you, my dear," she whispered, her voice catching, "to carry forward what we've built." The moment wasn't rehearsed. It had taken shape over months of reflection and informal mentorship. With Charles increasingly withdrawn due to the taxing side effects of his treatment, Anne had stepped into a silent role guiding Charlotte. In private now, conversations about Charlotte eventually inheriting the title of Princess Royal have grown louder. Though traditionally lifelong, the gesture at Windsor felt like a ceremonial torch-passing, an unspoken endorsement of Charlotte. As heir to Anne's unwavering dedication, witnesses described the scene as nothing short of soul-stirring. As Anne handed over the brooch, the tears that traced her cheeks were not of sorrow, but pride, a bittersweet surrender of duty to the next generation. It was like watching history pivot, one guest confided. From his quiet seat, King Charles observed with a faint, knowing smile, his own eyes moist. His recent public gratitude for medical support laid bare the family's fragility. Anne's emotion wasn't theatrical. It was the echo of a lifetime in service. Known as the Monarchy's workhorse, often attending over 500 engagements a year, Anne now finds herself reimagining what succession means. The handover to Charlotte wasn't an abdication, it was an empowerment. And Charlotte, young yet unshaken, received a legacy, with grace, her small hands steady, her eyes bright. This symbolic transfer also marks Charlotte as custodian of Anne's passions, equestrian traditions, military patronages, and a deep, unwavering sense of duty. It was more than jewelry. It was inheritance in its purest form. Anne's tears reflected not only a generational bridge, but a profound moment of familial unity. She has long been close to William's children, mentoring them through milestones such as Trooping the Color in June 2025, where Charlotte stood with pride. In that moment, Anne became a living link between the monarchy's storied past and its unfolding future. And Princess Charlotte, her evolution is extraordinary. Once the shy child waving from palace balconies, she now strides confidently through high-profile events like the Chelsea Flower Show and Wimbledon. At 10, she is already carrying the markings of leadership, quiet strength, gracious poise, and a grounding force among her siblings. Behind the scenes, William and Catherine have been preparing her not for royalty's pomp, but for its quiet purpose. Catherine's soft touches during public events, her whispered reassurances, have instilled deep self-assurance. Anne's guidance sharpens it with resilience. Rumors swirl claims that Anne is forgoing tradition to favor Charlotte. Technically, the title of Princess Royal is held for life. But what happened at the banquet wasn't about protocol. It was a living act of succession, one shaped by urgency, legacy, and love. Charlotte's quiet strength is becoming her signature, much like Anne. She's emerging as the anchor of her generation. At the Queen's funeral, it was Charlotte's composure that mirrored Anne's, stoic, reverent, unwavering. This symbolic handover cements her position. In times of crisis, the royal family's bonds shine their brightest, revealing an unbreakable thread that ties them not just to tradition but to one another. Their relationship has always been defined by quiet strength, an unshakable thread woven with mutual respect, sharp wit, and an innate understanding of royal expectation. Princess Anne and King Charles share more than blood. They share a history. From horseback rides to moments of dry humor behind palace walls, they've weathered the crown's heaviest burdens together. But it is in the shadows of adversity that their bond has deepened most. Charles's battle with cancer, first revealed over a year ago, jolted the monarchy into a rare state of vulnerability. In July 2025, the king spoke publicly with gratitude, crediting his medical team for steady progress. "He's feeling better," he shared, "but it's a journey paved with exhaustion and uncertainty." Through it all, Anne has become the monarchy's steady flame. She's taken up his duties with grace, hosting investiture ceremonies at Windsor, visiting Clarence House during his hospital stays, and offering something far more profound emotional ballast. Those close to the family reveal Anne's private conversations with Charles often leave him in tears, not from despair but from the grounding honesty only a sister can give. She's encouraged him to face hard truths, to open his heart, even nudging him toward reconciliation in strained family circles. Her loyalty harks back to the final days of their mother, Queen Elizabeth II, where she remained by the Queen's side and ultimately signed her death certificate, a haunting symbol of duty born with love. At the State Banquet honoring French President Emmanuel Macron on July 8, 2025, this resilience was visible for all to see. With Charles subdued due to his health, it was Anne's silent tears during her symbolic gesture to Charlotte that captured the weight of the moment. It wasn't just ceremony, it was prophecy, a handing over not just of heirlooms, but of responsibility, of strength, of future. This moment resonated far beyond siblings. It reverberated across generations. William and Catherine's pride in their daughter is increasingly evident. Whether beaming from the royal box at Wimbledon or standing quietly at official events, Charlotte is blossoming. She doesn't perform, she leads. Her moments with an add a deeper texture to her journey, from warm glances during public appearances to whispers of private royal crash courses with her great aunt. The mentorship is both intimate and intentional. The State Banquet sealed that connection. Anne's handover was more than an act of symbolism, it was an investment in continuity, a deliberate effort to stitch the generations together with threads of legacy, wisdom, and unflinching duty. This family, often stoic by necessity, has grown visibly closer in the face of Charles's illness. In crisis, their unity only deepens. Charlotte's inheritance is not of land or jewels, but of ethos. She carries the hope that this resilience, this love, will sustain the monarchy. As Charles continues his fight, his health updates now mingling gratitude with realism. The institution itself shifts subtly into a new phase, a monarchy no longer driven solely by protocol, but by adaptability and heart. His brief hospitalization in March 2025 was a stark reminder of what's at stake. And behind palace doors, quiet preparations have begun. Anne's teary gesture to Charlotte was not accidentally, was strategic. It signaled a new era, one where tradition bows to the needs of the present, and where Charlotte becomes a bridge to a monarchy defined by relevance and grace. William and Catherine are quietly rewriting the royal blueprint. Insiders whisper that Charlotte's path will differ from George's. While he may tread the well-worn halls of Eton, Charlotte could follow her mother's legacy at Marlborough College. The message is clear. Individuality matters. They are raising her not just to stand beside the crown but to shape what it becomes. Already signs of this independence sparkle. From leading Prince Louis during Trooping the Color in June to attending Taylor Swift's Eras tour with her father and brother, Charlotte embodies a new kind of royal, one equally at home among world leaders and pop concerts, sashaying between legacy and modern life. Beyond academics, her preparation is holistic. Whispers from within suggest she's learning not only diplomacy but situational awareness tools for a life under constant scrutiny. Yet the most powerful education comes from Anne. In late 2024, the two reportedly spent days together in what some call a quiet apprenticeship. No fanfare, just stories, values, and the lessons of a life lived in service. Anne's principled unyielding now flows through Charlotte, and with that comes reassurance. Reassurance that the monarchy's future will not only endure but evolve. Not just for ceremonial appearances, Princess Charlotte is being prepared for the unpredictable challenges of a modern monarchy. Despite her royal destiny, insiders say she harbors a genuine fascination with careers like nursing, proof that her world isn't confined to tiaras and titles. This quiet flexibility marks a stark departure from the royal molds of the past. William and Catherine have made it crystal clear, should Charlotte choose to follow a passion outside the palace walls, they'll stand firmly behind her. It's a powerful testament to how this generation of royals is placing emotional well-being above rigid tradition. At the heart of this evolving royal identity lies a revered symbol, the title of Princess Royal, held by Princess Anne for over 38 years. That title is not passed automatically, but is granted by the reigning monarch, likely William in the future, to his eldest daughter. That makes Charlotte a clear candidate. But tradition isn't the only factor. The emotional handover at the state banquet carried a symbolism deeper than any formal announcement. Anne's tearful gaze and the poised exchange signaled a torch being passed, a quiet affirmation that Charlotte possesses the spirit, poise, and sense of duty required to carry the legacy forward. Royal watchers are abuzz with speculation. Charlotte's spirited nature, often compared to Anne's own youthful fire, only strengthens her candidacy. If she inherits the title one day, it will not be out of obligation, but because she embodies its soul, a woman of quiet leadership, resilience, and unwavering service. This generational shift reflects a modern monarchy willing to evolve where heritage meets heart, and where figures like Charlotte are redefining what it means to serve in the 21st century. Charlotte's journey is just beginning, yet it already promises a future full of grace, empathy, and innovation. The world watches as she steps into this role not just as a princess by birth, but as a bridge between the grandeur of royal tradition and the flexible demands of a rapidly changing world. As we close this emotional chapter of 2025, it's worth pausing to reflect on what has been one of the most poignant years for the British monarchy. From quiet triumphs to painful reckonings, the House of Windsor has been tested in ways both personal and public. At the center of it all stands King Charles, waging his ongoing battle with cancer with courage and candor. His recent updates, shared just this month, speak of progressiest but also of fatigue, reminding us that even kings are not immune to the frailties of human life. Just weeks ago, during a public engagement, Charles was confronted about royal costs to taxpayers. His response, marked by grace, wit, and humility, underscored the delicate balancing act of modern monarchy. Amid scrutiny, his focus remains on recovery. The treatment brings cautious hope, even as it occasionally draws him away from public life. Princess Anne, as ever, has been a beacon of strength. Her recent presentation of the King's Award to a Hindu community group was a quiet reaffirmation of her commitment to service, echoing the emotional moment at the State Banquet when she symbolically passed the torch to Charlotte. And then there's the younger generation, winning hearts with every public appearance. Prince George celebrated his 12th birthday on July 22nd in typically understated fashion. Yet, the warmth that poured in from fans and family painted the picture of a boy growing steadily into his future role. Candid images captured the siblings' joy, Charlotte and Prince Louis locked in laughter, sharing playful moments that reflect a bond as authentic as it is unshakable. Observers have started calling Charlotte the royal family's secret weapon, a quiet force of confidence and charm. Her poised presence at Wimbledon and other appearances reflects a maturity that mirrors her great-aunt Anne. Meanwhile, whispers of a proposed travel policy that would separate George from his siblings, for safety reasons, have stirred frustration in William and Catherine, underscoring their fierce commitment to protect their children while nurturing their independence. So, what does it all mean for the future of the monarchy? As Charles slowly transitions into a more symbolic role, the quiet nod to Charlotte at the banquet begins to feel like the soft glow of a new dawn. Could we soon see her take on royal patronages? Might she one day be formally granted Anne's title? The questions swirl. What's clear is that Charlotte's potential isn't confined to a crown. From her calm leadership among siblings to her influence on how the monarchy adapts in the global spotlight, she's already becoming a central figure. This is the monarchy in motion, grounded in tradition, yet gently evolving with each passing year. Now, we want to hear from you. What has been your favorite royal moment of 2025 so far? Was it George's birthday and those heartwarming sibling photos? Charlotte's composure at Wimbledon? Anne's unwavering presence? Or perhaps King Charles's grace under pressure amid his health battle? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more touching royal moments, breaking insights, and the evolving story of a family that continues to inspire. Up next, a royal revelation you won't want to miss.